Hello everyone, Bear here, bringing you some early Battle for Azeroth Marksmanship Hunter changes. Now, I have to say, this is very early alpha, and many things could be subject to change, but if things do change, especially too much, then I will make a more updated video. Okay guys, let's get things underway, and we'll talk about what abilities have been removed, which ones have been added, and which ones have been changed, and then we'll go on to the talents. So let's talk about first which ones have been removed. So the first ability that we know has been removed is Windburst. Now with Windburst tied into our artifact and the artifact's now really going away, Windburst is now fully gone. It is not going into a talent as of we know of at this moment. It's not in the talents that are in the alpha at the moment. So what we can say at the moment is that Windburst has gone. No longer will we get that 50% movement speed from our nice little artifact weapon and a little bit of a speed increase from actually using it. So that is gone, replaced by absolutely nothing at this point. So one of the biggest things that have been removed in Battle for Azeroth is the Marksmanship and vulnerability system. Now you will no longer need, well, you know how to have Marksmanship, so there's no need for vulnerability. That being said, I mean, that does lead to a whole lot of decreased damage when it comes to aim shot, because with vulnerability you got the increased 60% maximum for damage increase for aim shot, but now that's gone. I'm hoping that they've just buffed aim shot a little bit, just so you can keep up with the damage that would be otherwise lost with vulnerability. Now the biggest thing that has been removed so far is the cooldown Trueshot aura. Now this is a really big removal. This is our only cooldown that we had. Now at the moment there's been nothing to replace that. So I don't know if we are going to get something to replace that or not, but that is going to be a really big cooldown, because that haste proc, as well as the critical strike damage that you got from that, was really vital in terms of our DPS and to keep up with other classes for us to be really much competitive. Now we're going on to the minor abilities that have been removed. First one is Arcane Shot, so that is gone. It is getting replaced with another ability, which I'll talk about in the next section, but that is gone. It is getting replaced, like I said, but it's nothing you need to worry about. But the second ability, which I kind of is a little bit to worry about, is the Marksmanship Focus. Now that increased the cap of focus that you get by 30, giving you 130 total in a maximum. But with that being removed, you only have now 100 focus, the same as you used to have in Mr. Pandaria, I believe it was. I think you did have additional focus in mod, but you now have back to Mr. Pandaria focus, so you do have to be kind of careful not to overcap, especially since you've been more into the rotation of getting more than 100 focus. Okay guys, now let's start going with what abilities are getting them implemented. Now, do you remember, like just a second ago, I was talking about ability changing Arcane Shot? Well, that would be Steady Shot. Now, the difference here is we had Steady Shot beforehand. It was a very good ability, I believe, but we had it alongside with Arcane Shot, I believe. But no, this has been full-on changed, Arcane Shot removed, Steady Shot implemented with a 2-second cast time, and generates 10 focus and usable while moving. So this is, you still got your movement speed, you still got nice little movement while you can do it, but it only generates a small amount of focus. But it does have a 2-second cast time, which is not too bad, but it is reduced by haste. Now, the next ability that has just been implemented is an ability called Quick Shot. This is also could be classed as a replacement for Arcane Shot. It is instant cast, does small amount of damage, but instead of generating focus, this actually costs 15 focus. Okay, it causes 37% physical damage, but it is a very quick, easy shot, and is really just instant cast. So that's all I can say about that, really. Now, another ability that has been added is Rapid Fire. This is a 40-yard channeled 3-second cast on a 20-second cooldown. Shoots a stream of arrows at your target, dealing 11% physical damage over 0.3 seconds for 3 seconds. Okay, each arrow generates a 3 focus. Now, I don't know if that's each arrow that hits or each arrow in general, but either way, you're going to generate, I would say, a good 30 focus, probably is a bit more, and it is usable while moving. It's a little bit of a mini barrage, I would say. But that is really good. I love this new ability. Its name kind of is off the old cooldown that we had, but either way, it's still a good ability. I like this one. Now the next ability that has been added, which pretty much everyone knew about at this point because it was in BlizzCon back in November, Tranquilizing Shot. Tranquilizing Shot is back, costs no focus this time though. 40-yard range, removes 1 enrage and 1 magical effect from an enemy target. 10-second cooldown, you get level 35. Heck, it's good to have that back. I really enjoyed that ability. It gave some hunters a bit more utility. I was sad to see it go, but now that it's back, I'm really looking forward to playing my hunter again. And the last ability that I'm going to be talking about that's been getting implemented is Lone Wolf. Now, I know we had this back in Legion, but it was a talent. This isn't a baseline. It's always going to have it now. The full 18% damage when you don't have your pet out is going to be baseline, so that's why I'm talking about getting implemented. It's really good that this is getting implemented because it was a really go-to talent back in Legion. You couldn't really switch off anything else, so I really am glad that this is now a full-on baseline ability. It gives the developers more room to go crazy with other abilities that they want to stick in. Maybe add a few abilities that were in the artifact traits into the talent system, so they've now got an extra space there. Okay guys, so now we're going to talk about abilities that have changed. Now this can be having minor changes such as an extra bit of flavor text, or abilities that have been fully changed but kept the same name. So for example, we're going to go with Aim Shot. Aim Shot is now on a 12-second recharge timer, mainly due to the fact it now has 2 charges. Okay, it costs 50 focus and is on a 3-second cast time. That's probably reduced due to haste. Now the other thing that I'm going to point out is this could also proc Hunter's Mark. Now the reason I'm saying it could proc Hunter's Mark is because some of the talents suggest that it actually can, and some of the talents suggest that it actually could be just an ability. Now, Multi-Shot has gone through a little bit of a change, and it's literally just one change, and that is the fact that it no longer generates focus, it actually costs focus now. And it costs a base of 25 focus, hitting every enemy within 8 yards for 51% physical damage, okay? Now, one of the passives that have been changed is the passive Bombardment. Now, the old Bombardment is your critical strikes with Multi-Shot increase your Multi-Shot damage by 60% for 5 seconds. That has been totally scrapped now to instead, it's when you cast Multi-Shot, your aim shot, your next aim shot will ricochet up to and hit up to 5 additional targets, or each shot of your next rapid fire, so that's the ability we talked about in the ones that got implemented, will ricochet to an additional nearby target. Now this will help because I think that coincides with the rapid fire's ability to generate more focus with each arrow hit. So I think that would be a nice little synergy there with your abilities, which I think that would be really fun to use. So when I was first making this video, Hunter's Mark had not been implemented yet, and I had it all rendered, all sorted, and lo and behold, as soon as I did that, Hunter's Mark came out. So we're going to be talking about that. So Hunter's Mark was originally a part of the vulnerability system, but since that is now gone, it is now entirely changed. It is now a level 60 talent as of right now, which increases all damage you do to the target by 5%. Now, it can only be on one target at a time, and if that target dies whilst having Hunter's Mark on it, it will give you back 20 focus. So now getting to the big part, which is the talent system. So what I want to do is I want to put the Legion talents and the BFA talents side by side in each of their tiers, just so you can see clearly which ones have been removed and which ones have changed, but which ones have been added. So first up, we're going to look at Tier 1, and as you can already see Lone Wolf is gone and Murder of Crows is actually there. So with Lone Wolf gone, Murder of Crows has just been moved down from level 90 to level 15. Its abilities are actually pretty much the same. 30 focus, 1 minute cooldown, does a lot of nice little dot on the target, is reset if the target dies within 30 seconds. Now the next talent you can see which is gone is Steady Focus. Now that it does come in later on, but it's kind of been a little bit changed, so we're not going to be talking about that just yet. But the new bit of talent that's replacing it is Precise Shots. Now, what this does is when Aim Shot activates your Hunter's Mark, and say Hunter's Mark is connected to Aim Shot, but we'll get that, we'll see when the time that comes, the cost of all your abilities is reduced by 50% for 5 seconds. I think this is a really good ability overall, having this for the whole fight long, getting your aim shot to just 25 focus, or your quick shot to 7 focus, or even your multi-shot just to 13 focus is a really good way of conserving your focus, being able to do a lot of damage in just a short period of time. So that is a really good ability. So the last talent you'll see on this tier is Careful Aim. Now this is still on live in Legion, but it's the way it works is completely different. What it does now is, instead of increasing the critical strike chance by 20% of your main abilities when a target is about 80% health, it now increases the bonus damage. Has a chance to increase the bonus damage of aim shot by 200% on enemies that are above 80% health and below 20% health. This gives the character, I believe, a good execute phase and a good burst phase, and I think is something that the hunters will really need in order to be competitive. But also, piercing strikes is still a really good ability, so I still think that it'll be a nice little change up between the two. Okay guys, let's head into our tier 2 talents, which you can see already all of them has been changed. They're not what they used to be. So let's start off with the very first one, which is Volley. That has been brought down from level 90 to level 30 and has been slightly changed. So now it will no longer proc from your aim, from your auto attacks. It's now when you cast multi-shot, and it's now you have a chance to cause a volley. It's no longer guaranteed. It's now a chance to cause a volley of arrows to rain down on all your targets hit by multi-shot, dealing 51% physical damage to each enemy hit. It doesn't cost focus like it does in Legion at the moment, but even though the focus was literally bare minimum 3. But yep, this is a nice little change for multi-shot, giving it a nice little more guaranteed of an AoE damage. Yeah, I think this is really fun. Okay guys, heading into tier 2 second talent, you can see again it's Sentinel. We've already got Sentinel, that's a level 60, but it's been brought down to level 30 and it is slightly different. On live, it's the Sentinel watches over a specific area, and every 6 seconds it applies Hunter's Mark to people in that specific area. Now it's when aim shot activates Hunter's Mark, so again more synergy with aim shot and Hunter's Mark. It will work well with precise shots probably, but we don't know if a second part of this ability counts. When aim shot activates Hunter's Mark, a Sentinel swoops into battle, applying Hunter's Mark to all the targets within 10 yards. Now, applying all those Hunter's Mark to all enemies within 10 yards, I don't think that'll reset the duration on precise shots. It might do, since you're already procced off aim shot to get that buff, but it might take like a second or a GCD for all of that to become available. So whether it reset back to 5 seconds or will it continue to go down from 5 to 4, who knows. But I think it will actually do it, and there's some nice synergy. I think there's going to be some nice synergy with aim shot and Hunter's Mark. I think that's where this Hunter build is probably going to go. But we'll see once I actually get alpha footage. Okay guys, and the last one of course is Explosive Shot. Explosive Shot, it's pretty much the same thing. 20 focus, 30-second cooldown, fires a slow moving rocket directly towards this target. Activating this ability a second time detonates the shot, doing fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. Okay guys, moving on to tier 3, as you can see, Post Haste has been removed as the first ability in this tier. It does come in a later tier, so that's really fun, but it has been replaced with Trailblazer. Trailblazer is already in this tier, in Legion. Your movement speed is increased by 30% anytime you have not been attacked for 3 seconds, so that's still a good thing to have. Combine that with Post Haste might be a good way to go in the future for better movement speed. Who knows, we'll see. The next talent in this tier is Swift Wind. Now this does replace Far Strider, so no longer will you have your ability, which when you critical strike, you have a 50% chance to reset the remaining cooldown of your disengage. But now you have a casting aim shot reduces the cooldown of your Aspect of the Cheetah by 10 seconds. Now Aspect of the Cheetah already has a good 33-minute cooldown, more than likely, if I remember. Yeah, 3-minute cooldown, but having that reduced over time would actually seem like a really good way to go. But not many people use Aspect of the Cheetah that often in raids unless they really need to move very fast. But if they need to do that, they can just use Disengage, really, can't they? And the last one in this tier is Camouflage. Camouflage being brought down from a level 75 to level 45. It pretty much does the exact same thing. Yeah, 1 minute cooldown, you're stealthed with you and your pet, but with we being normal, we don't have a pet. And while you camouflage, you heal for 2% of your maximum health every second. So I would say good for world content, not much of a use for raid or dungeon content really. More raid content than dungeon content. I can see a little bit of usage in dungeon content, to be honest, but we'll see, and we'll see if there's any abilities that synergize that within the future, but I highly suspect there won't be. Now onto our tier 4 talents. As you can see, a whole lot of new talents as well. Since Explosive Shot was taken down to level 30 talent, we now have a new talent taking its place called Streamline. Streamline now lets rapid fire last an additional 2 seconds, so in total that'll be 5 seconds of damage going out with rapid fire. That does also increase the amount of focus you gain by pretty much almost double, I would say. You're just a second off doubling the amount of focus. So I would say that's a good, if you're off a person who is focus starved most of the time, Streamline is a very go-to talent which you could use. The next talent in this one is Steady Focus. Of course, that was a level 15 talent, but is now been put up to level 60, and its ability has been changed. Now, it says on this that using Steady Shot reduces the cast time of Steady Shot by 0.255 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Using any other shot removes this cooldown. Now, while at first this didn't hit me on why this could be useful, but then I realized Steady Shot is probably your main way of focus generation. You're going to be spamming that crap a lot. So having its cooldown reduced by 0.5 seconds, stacking up to 4 times, that's a total of 1 second lost, so it's only a 1 second cast time. Will be an easy and great way of generating focus very quickly, since it generates 10 focus per shot. Having something that generates 10 focus on a 1 second cooldown is actually really good, and it's also usable whilst moving. So heading into the last talent in this tier, which is Hunter's Mark. Now, originally this was an ability called Quick Draw. I had this whole video planned out, but again, like I said earlier, I had to redo this part because it got updated just as it was rendered. So I'm just redoing the little bits that have changed, not really going through the whole if their names have changed and stuff like that. It is a level 60 talent, like I said beforehand, increases all damage you do to your targets by 5% once it's applied. Can only apply to one target, and if that target dies when it's on, it gives you back 20 focus. Now, I'm not expecting this to stay as a talent. I will more than likely expect this to become an actual ability, since other talents actually suggest it might be. Also, other talents suggest it would be really right for it to be a level 60 talent when level 15 talents ask for a proc. So either they're going to be changed or Hunter's Mark's going to be changed. That is more than likely my position on this, and we'll hopefully have to see once we get it further into the future. Now on to the level 75 talents. It really is a nice little change of just for utility, really. Binding Shot is still on there, so you will still get your Binding Shot. The only difference is instead of a stun, it's a root. So you get if it's in PvP, when Binding Shots you can still be able to use your abilities. It's just that you can't move. Post Haste is on here, move down from level 45 up to level 75, so you can use it with other movement speed abilities like Trailblazer, a nice little combination. Natural Mending, the new talent on here, which replaces Wyvern Sting. I think this is a good little ability, because now that we're getting rid of our artifact traits, we will no longer have the aspect of the turtle proc that we often get, which heals us for a good like 30 to 40 or 50%, depending on how many relics you got in your weapon, over those 5 seconds. So having that acceleration heal you for an additional 20% of your maximum health over 10 seconds, that's actually really good use for survivability. Heading on to our level 90 talents, we're getting into the big guns now. As you can see, a lot of new things. Barrage is still the same there, so that's nothing going to be different. It's got 60 focus, can channel, 3 seconds, usable whilst moving, 20-second cooldown. That's really much the same. But one of the ones is rapid killing. Now, rapid killing is each extra target that aim shot hits during bombardment reduces the cooldown of Hunter's Mark by 1 second, and each ricochet of rapid fire during bombardment reduces the cooldown of Hunter's Mark by 1 second. So again, guys, this is another incentive to say that this Hunter's Mark is an ability, not just a proc. So again, it's something I'm really looking forward to see what a Hunter's Mark actually does. But yeah, this is a full AoE tier, it looks like, but having this rapid killing coincide with your Hunter's Mark, aim shot, and your ricochet is really good. Gives you more synergy to work with your abilities. Something like you can a little bit plan ahead and stuff like that, just so you can see, oh, I'll pop this, do all these abilities, and oh, it's back off cooldown depending on how short Hunter's Mark cooldown is. And the last ability on this tier is Bombardier. Now, this bombardment now also increases the damage of your next aim shot or rapid fire by 25%. It's just a flat out damage increase. So I would say using rapid killing or Bombardier will be the go-to talent on this one. Barrage is still good, but I would still say it costs too much focus for you to actually use. So Bombardier and rapid killing, I would say, would be the go-to talents here. Okay guys, finally to our level 100 talents. You can see that Piercing Shot is still there. The only difference is that it costs 70 focus flat out. It's no longer a 20 to 100, it's now flat 70 focus. So that might actually be good. It might actually bring it in line with something that you could use. But also in this tier is something brought up from level 30, which is Lock and Load. Your ranged auto attacks have an 8% chance to trigger Lock and Load, causing your next 2 aim shots to cost no focus and be instant. Now, this is actually really good. It doesn't say reset the cooldown though, so if you are using that, it doesn't say resets the cooldown, resets the recharge, so you'll have 2 aim shots back up. But it doesn't have a duration, so that could also be a really good thing. And the last ability at level 100 talent is Calling the Shots. Now this is a really weird talent, as for say of Calling the Shots, it says it replaces Quick Shot, which it doesn't seem to be the case because it actually just looks like a passive, where casting Quick Shot reduces the cooldown of Hunter's Mark by 2 seconds. So again, more synergy with Hunter's Mark and Quick Shot, as well as Hunter's Mark and Aim Shot. A load of synergy in this talent system, but I would say that is not yet fully done. This level 100 tier talent. Again, all this is subject to change, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more changes in the future. So guys, my end thoughts. What are they? Well, I think Hunters are in a really good position at the moment, especially Marksman. Hunters have always been my favourite class, and out of that class, Marksman have always been my favourite spec. I am glad that they've re-added in Hunter's Mark. That being gone just messed up the whole spec for BFA. But what I am really looking forward to see is a replacement for Trueshot Aura. That cooldown really made us more competitive with other classes that were in Legion. If they have fully gotten rid of Trueshot Aura and they don't plan to implement anything else for us, I'm hoping they've buffed the damage just so we can keep on being competitive. But other than that, guys, I think BFA and Marksman Hunters are going to be in a really strong place. They're going to try and be really competitive, and I'm just really hoping that I get something for that Trueshot Aura.